To celebrate our accomplishment of hitting 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube, we're going to be giving away the pair featured in today's video, so make sure you guys stick around to the end for details. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another one of our videos. Today we're going to be walking you guys through step by step on how you can take a classic pair of the all white Air Force Ones and turn them into something just like this, where we throw a really cool drip effect along the swoosh along with one of your favorite patterns. So let's go ahead and get into it. So as always, the first thing that we're going to focus on is really nailing the prep so that we create a truly wearable custom with anything that we're doing here on this channel. So there's really only a couple areas of the shoe that we're going to be working on, so our prep really is fairly easy on a custom like this. We're going to need to acetone up our swoosh, the back heel panel, and the panels that are right below the swoosh where our drip effect is going to be landing on. So when you're working on smooth leather like this, you really want to rough up the surface so that the paint can bond over time. But if you're using something like a green Scotch pad, you need to be careful with how much kind of force you're putting in behind it, because white smooth leather like this can really scratch up and scuff up pretty hard, and you'll notice that the white leather will turn into like a gray, kind of grayish leather, and you have these scuff marks now on the shoe from scrubbing a little bit too hard. So you want to avoid that, but you definitely still want to rough up the surface enough so that the paint has something to bond onto. So with like most other things, I do still start with that green Scotch pad, maybe go a little bit lighter as far as putting that much force into it, and then after that I'm going to hit these with a cotton ball also in the areas that I know we're going to be painting. So now that we have our prep work all taken care of, what we're going to do next is move into adding this drip effect to our swoosh. So I'm going to go ahead and just pull up some other reference images online of some paint drips just to get an idea of how I want things to start looking, how wide and how thin, how narrow I kind of want some of the paint drips to look, if I want it to be wider at the bottom or whatnot. Just get some different ideas going in my head on what I want this to look like, and then I'm going to move right into freehanding some of this along the bottom half of the swoosh, moving to the back rear panels of the shoe. And so for those of you who don't feel as artistically inclined to be able to freehand out something like this, I've created a cool little stencil pack that you guys can go ahead and grab from our Etsy shop. It contains 8 different paint drip effect stencils that are perfect. You will definitely find one that you can use for a project like this. And over the years, I've built up quite a big stencil collection for myself, of course, and it really comes in handy when just doing everyday projects like this. It really helps streamline that process for you. So now that we have our drip effect drawn out on all of our swooshes inside and outside of both shoes, we're ready to go ahead and start masking off the rest of this project. So you've seen me talk about a lot of different tapes for working on various shoes, but for today's project, I really like this 2-inch wide Scotch masking tape. It works really well for being able to stretch across the multiple panels of the Air Force One. It also holds on the midsole if you've drawn any of your drips onto the midsole, and it's super easy to cut with an X-Acto knife around the swooshes and such. It also works really well for being able to hold up on the sock liner above the back heel panel, and you've seen I've recommended using medical tape for areas like that. However, on the Air Force One, this will hold really well, but if you're working with a more fuzzy kind of sock liner that's featured on something like a Jordan 3, 4, or 5, that's where you're going to want to use that medical tape on the sock liners, but this Scotch masking tape works really well for these. And another added bonus is that it's just clear enough that you'll be able to see all of your pencil lines, which makes it super easy to cut out all these drip effects around the swooshes. So when I'm doing any designer prints, such as the Gucci that we're going to be doing today, I always like to start with the color that we're going to be using for any of the logos, symbols, rather than starting with the background color. So we're going to go ahead and lay down our dark brown first, which is what we're going to be using for the interlocking G pattern. After we have that dark brown laid down across all of our swooshes, the drip effect, and the back heel panel, that's where we're then going to lay down our interlocking G vinyl stencil pattern. So after we have that dark brown laid down across all of our swooshes, the drips, and the back heel panel, that's when we're then going to lay down our vinyl Gucci stencil. And when working with a really small pattern like this going across multiple panels, you're going to have different parts of the pattern that are stretching across the swoosh and the panels that are underneath it. So you want to do your best to kind of press down on both of the panels, make sure you're heating down all of the vinyl. One little tip might be to even add some slits in some of the tiny little symbols, because this will help it lay across a little bit tighter, stretching across multiple panels. So some of my tips when working with a tiny little pattern like this that's going across multiple panels is you definitely want to make sure that you're heat setting it, you're pressing it down as much as you can to really bite onto those panels, and you're going to have certain parts and tiny little symbols that are stretching across both panels, so sometimes it can be a good idea to add a little slit into those panels. That'll kind of help it bend and fold and stretch across both of the panels and still hold down. When you peel back this stencil, there's gonna be some touch-ups that's completely unavoidable when you're working across different height panels like this. We're not working on one even surface, so touch-ups are completely unavoidable here. You're gonna have to do those when we start peeling this back, but you certainly want to do your best here to save you the most time in the future for touch-ups. I also recommend trying to lay this pattern across in kind of 2-inch wide segments. You don't want to try and do the whole swoosh at one time or stretch it across the whole shoe at one time. It's just a little bit easier, and you're going to be able to keep the pattern more intact if you do it in small segments. So now that we're happy with how this pattern is looking, it's time to move into that background color, and this is where I use some Angelus Play in the Sand mixed in with a little bit of white. And now we're ready to go ahead and start peeling back some of these stencils and see what we have underneath. And now this is where you're going to bring back your dark brown paint from earlier and go ahead and start touching up any areas where the vinyl stencil didn't lay down completely flat and you have just some minor touch-ups around some of these tiny dots and interlocking G's. And now to really sell this drip effect and really solidify it, I'm going to go ahead and throw a tiny dark brown outline around the entire thing. And now one of the final steps we're going to do for this custom is add the Gucci stripe on the tongue tag of these. So I'm going to start with our middle stripe red first. After that, I'm going to lay down a 1/2-inch wide stripe of vinyl across that red and then start doing the dark green on both of the outer sides of the red. And when working on this tongue tag within both of these mixtures, I'm going to add a little bit of fabric medium into the paint. Since we're working on this soft tongue tag material, in order to keep this really soft feeling, you just want to add in that fabric medium. It goes a long way to make sure that this still will have that factory feel rather than starting to feel a little bit tougher if you painted this with the straight leather paint. And then we're going to take a mixture of yellow and gold to do the Nike Air branding in. And now we're ready to add our finishers to this project. So I'm going to kick things off with Raleigh Restoration's scratch resistant sealer, and I'm going to add this along all the areas where we have the paint drip effect, especially on the areas where we allowed the paint drip to go onto the midsole. That is the one area of this custom that over time could get worn out since we're really only working with the swoosh and back panel. Durability of this custom should hold up really well over time, especially if you took the proper techniques and time to do the prep work right. So after we add that scratch resistant sealer everywhere, I'm also going to do the Krylon matte spray across the entire shoe, and that is a wrap on these guys. So as we mentioned earlier in the video, we recently hit the huge milestone of 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube. We couldn't be more thankful to you guys for that, so we want to go ahead and give back to you guys and give you guys the chance to win this pair of Gucci Air Forces that we made in today's video. These are a size 13, and we're going to be following the same giveaway format that we did for our Kids See Ghost video. So in order to enter, here's what you need to do. So go head on over to Instagram, give us a follow at DeJesus Custom Footwear, and when you head on over to our feed, you'll notice that we take up an entire row for every single shoe, meaning we give it 3 posts. We have 1 main shot, 1 video, and 1 close-up detail shot for everything that we post. So what you're going to do on all of the Gucci Drip Air Force One post is go ahead, tag 2 friends, and give the picture a like. So you can go ahead and win 3 entries on Instagram alone. And then right here on YouTube in this video, down below in the comments, all you need to do to get another entry is go ahead and tell us what your favorite movie of 2018 was. That's all you need to do in the comments down below. Let us know what your favorite movie of the past year was. So in total, you can have up to 4 entries to win these. And we will be announcing the winner on our Instagram live a little bit later in the day Friday. We will have it posted on our story, and we will guys let you know on our upcoming YouTube videos also. So good luck to everybody who would like a chance to win these. We really appreciate the support. Hitting that 5,000 sub mark is crazy. There's no way we thought we would be here when we first started creating these YouTube videos, so it's crazy to see this grow, and none of this would be possible without the support of you guys coming back to watch all of our videos. We greatly appreciate it, so thank you guys again. If you haven't already, go ahead and give this video a like. Don't forget to leave those comments down below. Head on over to our Instagram. Give yourself a chance to win these. Good luck, everybody. Thank you guys, and we will see you in that next video.